Good afternoon. Welcome back to Oneida Live. We're both on Facebook and YouTube, and today is Thursday, October 30th, or Halloween Eve, and we had a bunch of trick-or-treaters, bunch of little kids from Head Start who came through our halls today, and they're all excited, and we gave them all these little trinkets because we're not allowed to get them all sugared up with candy. But there was quite a gamut of different Halloween costumes, and the kids were just awesome. So we had a good swishing of the Halloween and the trick-or-treating today, but it actually starts tomorrow. And the reservation hours for Oneida are trick-or-treating from 3 to 6 p.m. So with that, today we have with us the strategist from Intergovernmental Affairs. Some of you know him and will remember him. And it's Brandon Stevens. Brandon Yellowbird-Stevens today is going to give us an update, a little bit about what he's doing now and switching gears a little bit from where he's been in the past and what's happening with us, Brandon, on a legislative note.
Well, thank you, Bobby. Segu swagwegu. Well, I really wanted to go over, to speak directly to the United community about the ongoing federal government shutdown and what it means to our nation. These times bring uncertainty, and I know many of our families feel the stress and concerns. Our leadership remains committed to being transparent and proactive as we navigate these challenges. We are in day 29 of the federal government shutdown. A government shutdown happens when Congress cannot agree on a federal budget and funding for programs is paused. While this is the responsibility of the federal government, it affects us all, especially Indian country, whose programs are often directly tied to federal funding and trust and treaty obligations. Oneida Nation has been limited in the impacts of the shutdown, partly due to the fact from previous shutdowns we have implemented contingency plans and have saved dollars that can be allocated in cases like this. And on a leadership level, we've been advocating for advanced funding and forward funding for our programs, meaning that our programs were loaded up front and not on some of our programs. And so like IHS, Bureau of Indian Education, which would be the school, a lot of those programs we fought over the last couple decades in getting forward and advanced funding. And so we're seeing the benefits of our leadership, our self-governance and our leadership pushing the federal government to give us funding up front, so we didn't have the effect that a lot of other tribes or other programs have when a government shutdown happened. A team has been assembled that's consisting of the CFO, Intergovernmental Affairs, CEO of Nation Services, formerly as the General Manager, and governmental administrative offices to further plan if a shutdown lasts beyond January 1st. During a government shutdown, generally federal departments and agencies may furlough workers and operate with reduced staff, which leads to the public having limited access to information or systems that require agency staff. With that, Oneida has learned that generally the government shutdown impacts are as follows. Of the nation's 250 grants, 90% plus of those grants are reimbursement based, meaning we spend our funds that are budgeted throughout the year and we get reimbursement through the federal agencies. And so we're not impacted as more. It's just the reimbursements will be a little bit slower. There'll be a lag, less staff for technical assistance. Some of the projects that may need federal funding for trust properties and whatnot may take a little bit longer. And then maybe delays in the trust process approval and reviews. So that's kind of like just the general overview of like what's happening that may affect us, and I can go into it a little deeper, but that's just a general outlook of the government.
Like our health care. We're forward funded in health care?
Yes, advanced funding is a little different than forward funding, but advanced funding, but because we negotiated our self-governance agreements, that those are set in stone and we get that funding up front, and so we're good there, and that's just a testament to the leadership in the past couple decades and just negotiating those.
How many self-governance tribes are there in the United States? Just an estimate. I mean, are 80% of them, you think, or is there just few that are self-governance, or?
There's a wide variety of what programs individual tribes have. So some can go into, we're negotiating the Department of Transportation, self-determination, self-governance compact that's in the works right now. So different tribes will have different capacities on what they can do on their own, and we have, it's hard to say in differing levels of what self-governance compacts each tribe has.
I see in the media there's a lot of tribes that are really suffering, primarily their food type programs, their food share and things like that, that they're really going to be in trouble if this shutdown doesn't end.
Yeah, so nationwide, the food share program, or SNAP, there's about 42 million Americans that'll be impacted by November 1st, where the funding won't be there anymore. Indian country-wide, about 27% of the tribal members will be affected who are on SNAP, food share benefits, and that's about 1 million or so tribal members. And what we're working on through the Economic Support Food Share Program is a plan for November. And so they're looking to roll that out in the next couple weeks, and they don't have a set target date, but they've been working on a program that'll feed the 425 families in their program. And so what the program looks like, it's going to be a $500 food voucher. It's supposed to be for the month of November. I think it'll come out in 5 different $100 vouchers. And it'll be at Hy-Vee. So that's when we have one of our master contracts at Hy-Vee. And there'll be some criteria similar to SNAP,
Income related?
Yeah, they're already in the program.
Okay.
And so it's basically SNAP eligibility. 425 families will be able to go to Hy-Vee and pick, and then there's no money that's going to be paid back, so you're going to have to use all of it. And this program details will come out in the next couple weeks for sure.
Oh, wow. Should I be watching the Gully Weesock? Should I be watching our website?
Yes, definitely the website. We're going to be communicating through their website, through our social media, and I believe they'll be on Facebook Live to deliver that message as well. And let's see, for the food share, the expiration date on those vouchers will be December 31st. And so that's just for the month of November, and they're working on if they will need to have the December distribution ready or not, because we don't know what the government shutdown, we don't know what the Democrats, the Republicans are going to be able to come with an agreement to fund and open up the government again. But we're ready for that food share program for our families.
So is there anything that's going to force the government to come to the table and make a decision?
No, I think just the American people and just the impacts. They're already seeing the insurance, the health insurance premiums go up as a result of everything that's going to happen. So they're getting pressure nationwide from people who are on the right and left on those insurance premiums increasing.
So pretty soon it's not going to be just a party problem. It's going to be, Congress is going to have to listen to America at some point. Definitely.
And I left out, there's 150 families that are off reservation still within the Brown and Outagamie counties that are on other programs. And so we're trying to figure out if we have the ability to create a funding mechanism to provide for those 150 families off reservation still within the Brown and Outagamie counties.
Right. As far as our programs go, I think I read something that it's not just for tribal members at our pantry. That's one of the provisions we have that's open to anybody living on the reservation. Am I right? I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure on the eligibility. I know there's the pantry, I think is generally more open. It's
Okay,
not
maybe it's the
income-based. It's
pantry.
not income-based. And the food distribution, that's the FDIFR program. And that is income-based. And so, but you can't do both. You can't do food share and food distribution. So you'd have to deny the food share benefit program to be eligible for the food distribution.
So what, do you know, I don't know if you know offhand, what's the longest shutdown we've had in our history?
I think it was Trump's first presidency. I think it was about 35, 36 days.
And maybe you're too young to remember. How long did that take? 35 days? I mean, what do we look for? Some movement. How do we assert that, or ascertain maybe that there's going to be movement? Do you know what kind of has to happen there? What the American people should be watching for?
I think it's really pressuring Congress to come up with a plan, and it's just we're doing what we can. We reached out. We met with Senator Tammy Baldwin's office this morning. We're reaching out to Senator Ron Johnson's office and continually to push them that there's real impacts to our families that are in need. And SNAP, most people on SNAP are seniors, families with children, veterans, and people with disabilities. So there's this mantra that people are talking about, that people need to go to work, is like a lot of these individuals aren't capable of working.
That's right.
And so just to be very genuine and soft about our messaging, that the messaging isn't coming through the tribe, that we're still going to protect our families that are in need, and we are on the ball, meeting and making sure that we have a plan in place for December. We have one in place for November, still getting the details figured out, but that December is ready to roll once we get notification that the shutdown is still going to be going on. And then January 1st is really the date that we're going to have to figure out long-term effects.
And the tribe has to operate much the way a family does. You've got to put some money away for a rainy day. And this is our rainy day. If they don't come to a budget agreement by Sunday, which is November 1st, by some point in November, Congress takes their holiday break. I'm not the president, but if I were the president, I would say you're not going anywhere until we have a budget. When it starts to affect their home life, their bottom dollar, then that's how you get movement, when somebody has a personal vested interest in it. So, and I don't know if that's something the president, he always seems to think he has a lot of power to do things. If I were, I would encourage him to say, you guys sit there until you've finished what's on your plate.
Yes.
Is there a mechanism for people who want to make donations to the tribe, to our food share programs, to anything like that?
Yeah, I think the pantry is taking donations. They're working with some organizations, some regional organizations, to get, there's an influx of need that's coming as a result of the November 1st deadline, where the SNAP benefits funding will cease. And so people are, and organizations are using their power to donate to our need as well.
Okay. So if you would go to our website, oneida-nsn.gov, and look under resources, you should be able to find our food pantry, and there would be phone numbers on there as to who you could call to see if you wanted to make any contributions. There's somebody who's asking if donations can be made. So you can find almost anything and everything on our website. Is there anything else we've overlooked?
Well, to your point about the government contingency, so way back when, I think several years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so, don't quote me on that one, but we established the government contingency plan, contingency funding. And so that's a pot of funding for any major events that may happen. Weather events, things that might happen, COVID like action. But then we also recently established, I can't remember the title of it, but it's for grants. We're putting in money for grants for situations like this, because we are, 250 grants we have through the tribe, and it varies from 40 million to 60 million in grants, that we want to have this coffer just in case for situations like this. And it's only just started, so there's not a lot of money in there. But we have been planning and making sure that when situations like this, that the most needy in the tribe will have support from their nation.
And I mean, the Oneida Nation has for many years worked hard to build up this contingency fund over the years. And it's important for our Oneida citizens to realize this isn't just idle dollars. There are times, I mean, we built it up over the years, and sometimes it's been expended by General Tribal Council when they maybe don't have a full understanding of what contingency means. And I think the best example is, as you mentioned, was COVID, when that was a worldwide pandemic. Nobody in the world was prepared for that. And yet Oneida did come and save the day for many people by providing payroll, services, communication to all of our membership as to where we were sat with it and what we were doing. First to get our vaccinations and administer them. That's what contingency funds are for, real emergencies when our citizens are in great need, things like that. So, to understand the full impact and need for a contingency fund, I think is very important. So, this is a new position for you, and coming into it as a person who's been a politician for many years. Now you're sort of on the other side, where you're providing the politicians with resources, with information, with political ammunition, so to speak. How are you feeling about that? Do you think it makes you more valuable to the government?
Honestly, I do think it does, because I have the experience of delivering the messages, and now I'm in the position to create the message, but also with the understanding of what are the nuances in federal government, state, local, that we need to look for, and creating relationships that I already have. I don't need to. So building these personal relationships through professional situations, it helps me go to individuals and say, hey, we got a councilman, we got a chairman's going to be talking to you, and here's what he's going to be talking about. And if there's any other questions you need, come to me. And it keeps them out of the weeds and the nuances of the small questions, where I'm regaining the understanding of all of the work that happened when I was in those positions, that came behind it. That isn't just they hand me a sheet of paper, but there was a lot of research. There was a lot of information gathering and relationship building behind that, where I get to, kind of take a new understanding and appreciation of that work, that I'm doing the work now, and then be able to push my leaders in front with the best information possible.
Qualify the information that you're doing there. So, well, I appreciate it, and thanks for taking the time. Good luck in continuing in your role as a strategist, doing the research. And as you said, our politicians, we have to arm them. We have to do our best job to make sure when they move forward on behalf of the Oneida Nation, that there's a strategy, that there's qualified and factual and timely information for our leadership. And going to Washington is no easy task. And I think you still will be required to go to Washington, to the Capitol, to Madison, because that's a part of the research. That's a part of building the strategy and those contacts, using those very valuable, long-standing contacts.
And I think just to that point is Congress sees faces. They don't remember everything. And, you know, they want to know they can come to you for information, and they also want to know that they can trust you. And I think Oneida Nation has been, in long standing, one of those tribes in the entire country that has stability and solution-based approach when we have issues. And we don't just come and fix this. No, we have the answer for you. You just need to figure that out. And I think our council is one of the best in the country, because we do have to go in those meetings and we have to mask. You know, especially
Right.
now in this administration, we have to mask. We have to be good stewards. We have to remember our mission and vision and not get into the politics of DC and say we have to deliver a message that's straight from our children in the rec center, that we need support in these particular ways.
Yeah, we had the rec center on here Tuesday, and all the good things that they're doing and the time that they have to spend with our children. They're from after school 5 hours. Our kids are with them. They entertain them. They educate them. They even feed them. And that's because, in part, our own tribal dollars, but also federal dollars and grants that come in. That's the importance of keeping our financial position solid, and making sure that we're not just looking for money for salaries and stuff. We're looking for services.
Yeah, and
for
we're not
kids.
looking at a handout. We are making sure that the government is reminded that they have trust and treaty responsibilities, because we gave up in ceded territory in New York for time immemorial for these services. And if we
Right.
don't push for the funding, we are not doing the service that we need to those chiefs that ceded that territory and struck those treaties back then. So it's our duty to make sure that we're not asking for a handout, we're asking for what was promised.
Exactly. It's an agreement. Be good to your word. So that's about all we have. Is there anything you think we overlooked or forgot?
Nope, I think that wraps it up.
All right. Tomorrow's Halloween. Just a reminder, as I said earlier, we had kids through here today, so everybody just slow down, take your time, plan ahead, be safe, make sure our children are safe, and when you're driving about, stay off your phone and keep your headlights on. Also, just want to remind everybody, the Holy Apostles Church in downtown Oneida has their harvest dinner on Saturday. They have a reputation of having some of the best home-cooked dinners in our history. So don't forget the harvest dinner. And I think it's about, Boo Bash tomorrow. Boo Bash is drive-through Site 1, recreation. Our team told us about it on Tuesday, so just wanted to remind everybody, be careful. And with that, we'll see you next Tuesday. Yawʌko. Nugiwa.